Well, hello everybody. We're going to make some pudding cookies today. I know it kind of sounds strange, but that's what we're going to make. First of all, we're going to put about a half a cup of creamy peanut butter. And that's probably just about what I've got in this. Peanut butter on me. Sugar and brown sugar. Let's see, we need about a cup, I think, of brown sugar. No, it's a half a cup of brown sugar. And we need white sugar. I didn't have my white sugar out. Now we need brown sugar, and we're going to put in 2 eggs. Oops. I'm also going to put in 1 banana, and a ripe banana. You don't want one that's real hard. You don't want it real mushy, but you want a ripe banana. Now you can beat this with your mixer or with a spoon, whichever you prefer to do. But if it's a ripe banana, it'll mash up pretty easy. See if I can get my mixer. Just going to mix it real good with my mixer, and that'll help mash up the bananas too. Just keep mixing it until you know your bananas are all mixed in. See, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven, 350. While I finish the rest of this. Now in a separate bowl, I'm going to combine my flour and my pudding mix. And I need, let's see, 2 1/4 cup of flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour if you'd like. I'm using self-rising. But just remember, if you're using plain flour, you've got to add your baking powder and your salt. That's 2 1/4. And I'm going to add my pudding. Now you can add vanilla pudding, banana pudding, whichever one you want. I just happen to have a banana pudding, so I'm adding the banana. The banana. Now basically all you're doing here is you're just mixing up your pudding with your flour. And I'm going to put in just a tad of salt. I've already got baking powder in there because it's self-rising, but I always add just a dash of salt. Not much. Now, I'm also going to add 1.5 sticks of butter to my peanut butter mixture and banana mixture. And you have to melt it, soften it. So you can put 2.5 sticks of butter in the microwave for like a minute, and it will melt it down. And then I'm just going to mix that all together. Over there for just a second. Yeah, I've got my instructions here because it's been a while since I cooked these, so I have to remember. Okay, we're also going to add 1 cup of chocolate chips. Okay, now we're going to add our flour and our pudding mixture. Put in my chocolate chips. Now you can cover this with saran wrap or whatever you have. And we're going to just put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Put it in there basically while our oven is heating up. And these are going to be some good cookies, y'all. Go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way. And I forgot to get the parchment paper. So, but I've got 2 pans here. And what I'm going to do is line my pans with parchment paper. And I never do cut it or tear it straight, so I just fold it under to make it fit my pan. Now you're welcome to add peanuts, pecans, walnuts, anything of that nature to your mixture if you would like, to just give a little added oomph to your cookies. I'm just putting the chocolate chips in these. But these are just basic pudding cookies. Peanut butter pudding cookies. If you're like me, you like experimenting with a lot of different kinds of cookies. And you know what? I did forget to put my vanilla in here, but I can add it. Just 1 teaspoon of vanilla, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not that big a deal. I've got so much flavor going on in these cookies already. That 1 tablespoon of vanilla is not going to make a world of difference. So let's get that mixed up so we can put our cookies back in the refrigerator. See, I'm not perfect. I forget things too. That should be good enough. That tastes pretty good. Those are going to be some rich cookies. So now just pop them right back in there. We're waiting for our our oven to warm up. I forgot to turn it on earlier. Let me know in the comments what your favorite cookies are. I would love to know. I love peanut butter cookies, oatmeal cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies, just about any of them. Country kitchen, I always clean up my mess behind me as I'm cooking. It's a good practice to get into. That way you don't have tons of dirty dishes waiting for you to clean up when you get through cooking. Best way to clean beaters is just swoosh them around in the water. Yeah, I'd love to know what your favorite cookies are. If you'd like to put them down in the comments. Let's see. But there's so many different versions of this cookie. You can put coconut, you can add raisins. Some people even put crispy cooked bacon all chopped up in it. I think Elvis liked his pudding cookies with not only the chocolate chips and banana in it, but he loved bacon chips in his cookies. I'm just making the basic pudding cookies with peanut butter and chocolate chips. I'm not going to go to the addition of putting bacon and all that stuff in there. I think I'd rather have them without the bacon. So I'm just making the simple version of pudding cookies. And I can go ahead and give you the ingredients again. I've got them written down here. First of all, you're going to have 3/4 cups of butter. That's 1.5 sticks of butter, and you want it softened. So I just put 1.5 sticks of butter in my microwave for a minute, and it melted it right down. You need 1/2 cup of creamy peanut butter, 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2¼ cups of all-purpose flour. Now, like I said, I use self-rising flour. But if you use all-purpose flour, you're going to need to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt to your all-purpose flour. I don't have to add that because I use the self-rising. You're going to put in 1 box, 3.4 ounces of instant banana cream pudding, or vanilla pudding, either one. A cup of mini chocolate chips, and I just had regular chocolate chips, so I did that. And then you're going to combine your peanut butter, your butter, your sugars, your white sugar, your brown sugar in a bowl with an electric mixer, and beat it and add your 2 eggs and mix well. In a separate bowl, like I did, you're going to put your flour, your baking soda, your salt, and like I said, if you're using all self-rising flour, you don't have to put the baking soda or the salt. You slowly add the dry ingredients to the creamed mixture, mixing well. Stir in your chocolate chips, cover bowl and with saran wrap or lid, and refrigerate for about 30 minutes just to chill it a little bit. You're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, lining baking sheets with parchment paper or Silpat. Scoop or roll the dough into 1-inch balls. Bake for 8 to 9 minutes. Allow cookies to cool for 2 minutes on a baking sheet before transferring to a cooling rack to completely cool. And then you store in a covered container. So you see that the cooking time is only like 8 to 9 minutes, so it goes pretty fast. So I'm going to let the oven heat up just another minute or two. And then I will take my dough out, and I'll start scooping it on my pans, on my parchment paper, and we'll get to cooking these cookies. But you can take any recipe, even a cookie recipe, and add ingredients that you like. Just like I said, I don't particularly care to put bacon in my cookies, but it would be good. I'm not going to the trouble to fry bacon right now. But you can put coconut, you can put pecans, walnuts, Even peanuts, if you crushed, broke them up really tiny, crushed them up a little bit. Raisins, dried cranberries even would go good. So, when you do your recipes, they're not set in stone. You can change up the ingredients to suit yourself, what you like, or how you might like to do that particular recipe. So this is how I'm doing this one. Okay, we got a few more minutes on the oven. So I'm going to leave the dough in the refrigerator for a few more minutes. It just has to set and cool just a tiny bit, because I did heat up that butter, to melt it, to soften it. So it just needs to be chilled a tiny bit, not much. Because we don't want the dough to go hot into our pan. We don't want the dough hot already. If you have favorite cookies that you'd like to see me bake, let me know. But this is my version of pudding cookies. And I always like to add the fresh banana if I have it. I don't always have a fresh banana, but a lot of times I'll have either the vanilla pudding, or I'll even have the banana cream pudding that I can put in it. And it looks like I'm getting new neighbors over here. But that's okay. I think they came and put in a water meter at the back of the lot yesterday. They haven't done any more over there yet, but I dread when they clear the lot because of my allergies. It's going to stir up so much dust. I was so glad when they got finished with this house across the street, because every day they came and they scraped that lot. They just stirred up dust every single day for about a week, and it was driving my allergies. It was just driving me crazy with my allergies. And I know that's going to happen over here. But thank goodness I've got my lot between their lot, and it's full of trees, and that's going to help block some of that dust. Not all of it, but it will block some of it. So, and I think this has been in there for about 30 minutes. And we're supposed to scoop it out to about a 1-inch ball. I would use the ice cream scoop, but I don't think I'd be able to get. It would probably stick to the ice cream scoop. And I don't have one of those with one of those little things in it to help get it out. And you don't flatten them down or anything. You just try to keep them in a ball. I try to make mine the same size, but it's kind of hard. But they feel cool enough, so. these pretty well feel cool to the touch, so that's all you need basically. But this is about as close as I can come to a 1-inch ball. So, and you don't have to be exact. Just close. If you don't have parchment paper, feel free just to grease your pan a little. Spray you some cooking spray on it, and you can still bake your cookies. I'm trying to go too big. I figured it was time to fill my cookie jar because it's empty. Tastes pretty good, y'all. Now we're going to put them in the oven for about 8 or 9 minutes. At 350. Cabinet booby trapped. Everything started falling out. But I put my parchment paper up and I'm going to need it because I've still got more dough in here that I've got to do something with. So we'll leave it out there. I'm just going to put the cookies, I think, on this to cool. Before I put them in a plastic container with a lid. Or I can cool part of them and put them in my cookie jar over here. And then I'll put the rest of them in a container with a plastic lid, kind of like this bowl, to keep them safe, pretty much. But I've got this cookie jar that I've had ever since my kids were little. Still got remnants of the cookies that were in there before. And I thought so many times of getting rid of it, I said, well, I don't really keep cookies around like I used to. But you know, there's times when I buy cookies for myself and I just put them in my jar, my cookie jar. So it's nice to have something that was left from when my kids were little. It's got dust on it. A little bit, not much. And dry it off. And I didn't watch the time. I think my cookies have been in there for about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But they're not going to be flat. 3. But they'll be kind of hopefully a thick cookie. I tell you, my favorite time when I was growing up is when my mom made oatmeal cookies. She made peanut butter cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies. She'd fry donuts. That was our favorite time in the kitchen. Because we lived way out in the country. There was no bakeries close by, nowhere you could get really buy cookies or fresh donuts or anything like that. So my mom cooked them in the kitchen. We didn't have any McDonald's or Whataburgers or any of those things around either when I was growing up. I don't even think they'd ever heard of them back then. I don't think they even existed. So if you wanted hamburgers, guess what? You got out a frying pan and you cooked one in the kitchen. Or you grilled it out in your backyard. You didn't go through a drive-thru and pick up one. I'm watching the time, y'all. They're starting to look good. They're starting to look like a cookie. I know, I'm being silly. Some people said they kind of liked my videos because I was funny. But we'll get those out. We'll let those pans cool just a tiny bit and then we'll put more in. I don't have enough pans or space to put them all in there at one time, so. I could probably go ahead and, well, no, I'll wait and get those others out. Feeling a lot better since I went and got my allergy shot yesterday. I'm still not 100%, but my chest feels a lot better. I'm not coughing like I was. I cough occasionally because there is a few, a little bit breaking up down in there, but other than that, I'm feeling a lot better. Yeah, I love to get old-timey recipes, cookie recipes, all that kind of stuff, and cook stuff that they used to cook years ago. Sometimes those are the best recipes. This is almost like a chocolate chip cookie, but it's got peanut butter and banana in it, so that makes it even better. Peanut, banana, and chocolate chips. Could you imagine that with raisins or even bacon bits? I think my cookies will be rich enough without the bacon and without any other raisins or anything else, so. And then they're just a few minutes longer and we will have cookies. Where I'm over here trying to find my container that I usually store cookies in. Oh well, doesn't matter right now. We'll get it later. Well, they need a few more minutes. You'd have to have a big rack to store all these cookies on the cool. Yeah, I'd love to hear maybe some of your favorite recipes for cookies. Or maybe not the recipe, just the name of the cookie that is your favorite or that you always enjoyed cooking or baking. Leave the message in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I got other recipes coming up. I just haven't decided which recipe I want to cook exactly when. So. Nine minutes. Well, a couple more minutes and we'll get them out of there. It's getting hot in here. But it's supposed to be, I think, in about the 90s here today, so it's not a cool day outside either. Give these a couple more minutes and then we're going to pull them out of here. They need to stay in there a little longer. I mean, they've been in there for about 6 or 7 minutes, but still, that doesn't look like that's long enough for these cookies. Of course, they're not supposed to be brown either, so. And I may just put them on the parchment paper and put them right on the counter and not put them in a pan. I only have one of these, so that would help get air under them. I'll bring it over here All I'm going to do is slide my cookies out on the cookie cutter, or not on the cookie cutter, the cutting board, with this on top of it to kind of cool the cookies so it'll get air underneath it. I think these have been in there long enough. That's the good thing about parchment paper. You can just slide your whole tray of cookies out. Now I need to find some place to put the other ones. Maybe over here on the table. Put a towel down. But I do not want to burn them. I wanted to let you see what I was doing. The easy way to get them cooled and take them off of your pan is just to get them down there like that and slide them right off of your cookie sheet right on the table on the parchment paper. You don't even have to take the parchment paper off. These have to cool down a little. Whew. There's got more cookies to go in there. I don't know how many more I'll be able to get. I try to let my pans cool in between putting cookies in there, but and I'm probably making my balls bigger than 1 inch, but hey, that's okay. You don't have to be exact. Just somewhere close. It's not rocket science. It's just a batch of cookies. And I'm going to have some left over. And not enough for another whole pan, but Wash my finger off since I put it in my mouth. And I don't ever have another whole pan, but hey, I still got a couple of cookies that I got to do something with. It's probably about 3 cookies in here. And I didn't mean to. Oh my goodness, I forgot to turn the camera. Y'all, I didn't know. I forgot to turn the camera. And I've been over here doing all this thinking everybody's looking at me. But I already put one more whole pan of cookies in the stove. And now I got these, just a couple of ones here that I'm going to put in there. Because I don't want any of the dough to go to waste. Oh, that's good. So now let's watch the time. Okay. But, see, look at this. They gotta cool. And as they cool, they'll harden up a little bit because they're real kind of soft right this minute. But look at the bottom. You don't want them too brown, and the tops are real light colored. But they're still hot. And I'm just going to put these other ones out on the counter when I get them pulled out of the oven. And just let them sit here and cool. Because I don't have, I got a cooling rack. But there's no way it's going to hold this much cookies and this much cookies over here. I mean, look at this. I've got 2 pans of cookies out right now. Look at there. There's the other pan. And I've just got it sitting there cooling. So you don't want them too brown. Because they're not supposed to be dark brown. They're supposed to be kind of a white cookie. They're a pudding cookie, so they're supposed to be kind of white. And I don't want to leave any of them in there till they burn. Because you definitely don't want burnt cookies. That one got a little bit brown, but it's not burnt, so it's okay. Those are going to be good cookies. As soon as they cool off. So let's get the other ones out. And once they cool, like I said, you can put them in a cookie jar like I'm going to do. And all of them are not going to go in that cookie jar. I'm going to put some of them in a plastic container, sealed container, to keep them airtight so they don't dry out. And I'll store them that way until I get ready to use them. Those are some good looking cookies. Go ahead and clean up my mess while I'm at it. And I like a good cookie once in a while, you know. If I don't want to cook a whole cake or something like that. Sorry about that. Because living alone, a lot of times you don't want to make a big cake. If you make muffins, at least you can freeze part of your muffins. If you make cookies, you can freeze part of your cookies. And that might be what I do with these. I might freeze some of them. But that's 2 dozen cookies right there. It'll be about 3.5 dozen, not quite 3.5 dozen I got out of this. And if I'd have made the cookies a little bit smaller, I'd have probably got over 3 dozen. No, I'd have got around 4 dozen if I made the cookies just a tiny bit smaller. So, you're in charge of your cookies, so you can make them as big or as small as you like. Couple more minutes, because they cook pretty fast. Cook pretty fast, and we'll see how many we ended up with. Well, I know how many. We got 1,003. So that's three dozen cookies with 3 extra cookies is what we got out of this batch. So that's pretty good, 3 dozen cookies. But like I said, if you'd have made them just a tiny bit smaller, you'd have got 4 dozen. Easy. Because I made some of mine kind of big. And if you got each one of them exactly the same size and they were a tiny bit smaller, you definitely would have got 4 dozen. But I love fresh homemade cookies a lot better than some of them you buy in the store. I mean, they got good ones in the store too, but it's always nice to make fresh homemade cookies. Fresh homemade cookies. Fresh homemade anything is better than bought. Or better than what you get in a restaurant usually. And a lot cheaper. A few more minutes. These are almost like chocolate chip cookies, but they're not because they got peanut butter and banana in them. So it makes quite a difference in the taste of your cookies. Yeah, I'm piling my plate up with cookies here because they've cooled. And I'll be able to put my other cookies out here to cool. See, we're building on quite a plate of cookies here. Quite a plate of cookies. Sorry about that. My chest is not completely clear yet. But it will be. Go ahead and lay this one over here. So you can see all the cookies. And show you how easy it is to take these off of out of the pan to cool them. Almost. Like I said, I don't want to burn any of them. But I want them a little brown on the bottom. Just a little bit. But I think this is a pretty nice plate of cookies so far. But I think like I said, recipes are not set in stone. The directions say to cook them for 8 to 9 minutes. I found closer to 15 minutes is better. Because I want mine a little bit of brown on the bottom. Even though they're not going to be browned on top. I do want a little bit of browning on the bottom of my cookies. I don't want them completely white on the bottom. So if you leave them in there closer to 15 minutes, you can judge with your own oven, because it seems like, depending on where you live, the region you're in, how high you are, how low you are, and what oven you've got, the temperature's going to range a little bit. And I found with all my recipes, the cooking time usually is a few minutes longer than what it says. And you don't want to touch your cookie really Don't want to try to get it out or anything. Just slide it out on your parchment paper and let it cool. And let your pan do the same. See how easy this is, just pulling it out. Slide that pan right out from under it. Don't bother your cookies until they start cooling, because they're too soft at this point. If you try picking them up or moving them without this parchment paper, these cookies are going to break apart. You got to let them cool. I mean, like these, they got cold. Well, they cooled off, so you can pick them up and handle them now. But right now, right out of the oven, you don't want to touch them. You don't want to try to put a spatula under them or nothing. You just want to leave them and let them cool, just like they are. Because that way you don't break your cookies up, you don't smash them up. They'll stay on this parchment paper till they cool. Then when they cool, you can get them off and they won't stick. That's what's neat about parchment paper, is your cookies are not going to stick. Like sometimes they will try to stick to a your cookie sheet if you don't have parchment paper on it. But here goes our cookies. Puddin cookies, y'all. Fix you some puddin cookies. I think you'll like them. Fix you a puddin cookie. Don't they look good? They look almost like a chocolate chip cookie, but they're not. I mean, they got chocolate chips in there, but that is a puddin cookie. It's got banana, it's got vanilla pudding, chocolate chips, and peanut butter. These are really scrumptious cookies, so y'all try them. And with that, I'm going to bid you a good day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and I will see you on my next one. Bye now.